السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. يا هلا وسهلا ومرحبا بمتابعين ومشاهدين قناة سعودي أوتو. حلقة اليوم على الطاولة قمنا باستضافة السيد ديريك جنكينز، نائب الرئيس للتصميم في شركة لوسيد. طبعا ديريك بيشرف على جميع تطورات التصميم بما في ذلك التصميم الخارجي وتصميم المقصورة الداخلية، علاوة على تجربة استخدام السيارة واللي هي يوزر اكسبيرينس، واختيار الألوان والخامات والاكسسوارات. كمان هو مسؤول عن استراتيجية التصميم الشاملة، وكمان يرأس استراتيجية العلامة التجارية الإبداعية والعلامة التجارية لشركة لوسيد، علما بأنه صندوق الاستثمارات العامة السعودي استثمر في شركة لوسيد للسيارات من عام 2018 كجزء من استراتيجية الاستثمارات الدولية للصندوق. لوسيد موتورز تعتبر شركة سيارات حديثة، وأول سياراتهم هي لوسيد إير.
I'm going to start with some basic designer questions because the concept itself is very intriguing concept. So my question to you is to look at, for example, creating from the sheet, from a brand new on a white sheet of paper, a luxury EV sedan. What went through your mind at that moment?
Right. Well, that's a great question, because when I joined Lucid, which was a company called Ativa at the time, in the middle of 2015, and basically joined to work together with Peter Rawlinson.
Right.
And when I joined, the brief with Peter was like, well, we're doing a sedan, and get started. and of course, his ambition was to do something, really the next generation of EV with respect to space and performance and efficiency. But I think at the time we didn't really have we hadn't really officially stated that it's going to be a luxury sedan. We just knew we wanted to have the best range capability, the best, at least high performance. And we knew it needed to have a lot of space. But in order to achieve those things, we knew there had to be quite a bit of new technology and big technological advancements. And so the price point was not going to be low or in the middle. It was probably going to be at the higher end of the market. So immediately you start thinking, well, we should probably start thinking about this luxury position, because that's what we're going to have to charge for it. And also that supported the business case around the development of the vehicle, the manufacturing volume that we could achieve.
But why did you guys started or decided on a sedan, where as an automotive person there's a departure from the sedans into the SUV segment?
Sure.
I can give you a number of examples. I mean, if you look, for example, even the high-end sports cars,
right.
When they ventured out into another segment, they went into an SUV and they did very well. Perfect example like Porsche, for example, with the Cayenne, and even with Lamborghini with the Urus. So, why did you guys started with a sedan where the market trends going into another direction?
It's a good question. And to be honest, we had that discussion at length in the early days. Really, what should we do a sedan? Let's study the market. We even had the discussion about the pickup truck back then.
Mm-hmm.
When we took two steps back and really said, listen, we want to achieve the best efficiency. We want to have the best range.
Right.
We want to have the best handling and comfort. And we want to make the biggest evolutionary step in the vehicle segment that we possibly can.
Right.
And when you really look at those things, the sedan is, because of what I mentioned earlier, has evolved so slowly and is literally almost unchanged in its basic format for about 40 years. The SUV crossover, on the other hand, has been evolving rapidly over the last 10 years. if you look at the differences between design models, even within an existing brand, from 10 years ago till now in the SUV crossover segment, it's evolved rapidly. And there's good reason for that. And there's good reason for the market reacting positively to it. When we stood back and said, where can we have the biggest impact? The sedan, especially the way we've approached it with the new layout and new proportions, is an extremely efficient layout for aerodynamics. It's very efficient and balanced for ride and handling and performance, much more so than SUV crossover.
Let's talk about the design. It's really, I would say it's a totally different new approach to design, either exterior or interior. However, are you guys looking at an approach or a product that is going to be, it's an international product, or it is specifically for the North American market?
Yeah.
My question is, if it is an international product, then don't you think the design is a little bit much more futuristic, but not necessarily functional?
Right.
But now all of a sudden, I see the really futuristic. Do you think that this is internationally or domestically would scare off some customers?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. And as a designer, especially on a project like this, we were very aware of kind of who we were targeting customer-wise here in North America, but also in Europe, Middle East, and Asia. So there is a real acceleration in kind of consumer acceptance for new technology and what that can bring. And with new technology comes an evolution in design aesthetics. I mean, it's inevitable. And so I'm a big believer in how can I bring advanced design, or a very, let's call it futuristic, because that's certainly one of the terms that we use when we think of Lucid, to the market. However, I think it's very important to balance this kind of feeling of future facing or futuristic with something elegant that's beautiful and still pleasing. It's not so futuristic that it's shocking or it's too much, and so we really worked hard to bring something new that still to the average person feels like an elegant, feels expensive, feels sexy and sleek. And so we really tried to find that balance, because I think you can't force the customer to just accept something new. It has to be something more universally appealing, but it can't look like anything else.
How much, as a designer, more specifically, if I'm talking about the interior design, because the conventional or traditional car is different from what you are building, because of these certain engineering or equipments where they go certain places. It restricts the designers on how much creative they can get with their pen, because what they can do with their pen might not be as applicable in the actual product.
Right.
In this car, how much did you guys had to negotiate as designers with engineers, or was it a simple, happy marriage, both that really sad because it's a totally different approach?
Yeah. It's one of those things there. An automobile is obviously a very, very complex, probably the most complex and multidisciplinary consumer product you could possibly sit down and design.
I agree.
If I even me, doing this for so long, I'm somewhat jaded at how lucky I am to design cars. And I've been doing it so long, it's just like part of what I do. But when I stand back and look at all the different people and disciplines and skill sets it takes to do it, it's staggering. Even I'm amazed today, and it's getting wider still with software and sensor technology, optical technologies, all of that. So there's a philosophy at Lucid, and this really comes from Peter Rawlinson, that is unlike anything I've ever experienced in my career, and that is this joined up thinking between design, engineering, and all the different disciplines in the company. We're doing it because as just part of our daily routine, we're sitting in the same area, we're working in the same area, no secrets, full free flow communication and problem solving. And I think once the engineering team understands kind of a little bit the vision that the design team is trying to achieve, and vice versa, then you really have this synthesis of design, of art and science, and we call it heart and mind.
I read somewhere that you shied away from using animal products in the interior of the car. Is that correct? Because my question is, to show luxury in any culture or in any country, it's leather. It just, yeah. I mean, if you're talking to Rolls-Royce, if you go to their factory, they pride themselves on the hive that, the hive that they choose. It's leather. Leather reflects luxury. How would you reflect luxury without it?
Yeah, and we had that discussion at length early on because we've seen our primary kind of benchmarking competitor move away entirely from it. I felt like one of the things that was very important, and this also goes to your earlier question, if you're going to do something more futuristic and call it luxury, you still have to have touch points that the customer can relate to. And so we have a partner based in Scotland, actually, that has the lowest toxic and chemist waste from their tanning processes, and it's the most green process in the industry. And we've chosen them as a partner. And you get all of that amazing supple quality that you would like. It's a Napa grade leather that we use on the top end, and it's beautiful. Now we also have something called Pure Lux, which is a synthetic, a non-animal leather, and we use that on our base model. And you can also get that on the top end model as well. Because some people have made those personal choices, right, not to buy leather and not to consume any animal products. And I totally respect that. And that's why we took the double path.
Looking at the interior design, it is really a different approach to the car. Where can I see the aviation approach in the interior design other than the cockpit or the ceiling or the roof of the car? Where would I see it? I mean, to me, the car is futuristic by all means, okay? Yeah. But it really draws my attention, the aviation approach.
Yeah, I think the aviation approach was more applicable to the exterior. The interior, it's hard to describe unless you sit in the vehicle. Once you sit in the car and you see the glass canopy, you see the view ahead, you have this whole complete view of the sky. And then the interior is different than the traditional luxury interiors. If you think of a big Mercedes or a Bentley, the interior is usually very big and heavy with lots of wood and chrome. And we did the opposite. We made the instrument panel as slim as possible, like a wing, and take all the weight, the visual weight out of the interior, make it as open and airy and spacious as possible. I think there's still a tie back to aircraft design, but I think it's a little bit more abstract on the interior.
Now, the canopy roof of the car, it's really, I agree, I'm sure it would give it really a nice view. Has it been tested for safety, especially in the crash accidents and so forth? Has that been tested? Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about it.
And we had already in the early part of the project, we said we wanted to try and achieve this canopy glass, which goes from the kind of where the windshield wipers are, which is called cap, and goes all the way up to the pillar that goes behind your head. And that pillar had to be a little bit larger, and that ties into what called the B post at the center area. And so all the structure for rollover, side impact, to meet all the rollover regulations had to go in that structure, as well as the primary pillar that goes down to the instrument panel. And of course, this is developed in CAD, tested through simulation. We've already passed all of our preliminary rollover testing as well. And so yeah, it will meet and in most cases exceed all the testing parameters required.
Okay. I see some luxury car manufacturers really putting a lot of efforts and investments and focus on producing electric vehicles.
Yes.
Does that put a lot of pressure on you guys? Because I mean, if you look at these huge infrastructure that they have and the resources they have, where does Lucid really find itself, let's say in 10 years, where these huge companies with great backing, find itself among these giants? I know I'm asking a question, but even from a design point of view, because at the end of the day, the industry right now is driven by design, not really by engineering. This is used to be in the past, but really design plays a major role in selling the product.
I mean, there's no question it puts pressure on us. It motivates us. It motivates us to embrace the new technology and move it forward as fast as possible, because our core mission is to advance electrification. You said it at the very beginning, this is the future. And the whole point of Lucid is to accelerate that future. Let's get this 98% of people that are not driving electric cars to transition, right? And so that's our core mission, and embrace the technology and move it forward as fast as possible.
I don't consider Tesla as a luxury car maker. So, but then we look at as Lucid as a luxury car maker. So Lucid is not going to go into the popular segment with a product in the future, is going to still focus on that luxury segment. Do I understand it correctly?
That's right. We see our Tesla, and I think Tesla, came into the market with a luxury price point, but the experience probably was not. I agree. A lot, and it's been criticized extensively on that. Yeah, and I think that's okay. They did the first to bring the technology to market. There's a premium price that gets put on that, but the overall vehicle experience was not considered luxury. So I think that was a barrier for a lot of people to move towards EV. They are moving down market, wider, looking at more affordable products, and I think that's great. That makes a lot of sense. For us, we see this new place for luxury being defined by technology and electrification as unique. I mean, I don't see anybody else doing that right now. And I think that's a huge opportunity for us to establish ourselves over the next 5 years. And then long term, I do see us coming from the luxury market to the premium market and bringing more affordable products at a higher volume and a lower price. But that's farther in the future. We have several models planned in the luxury segments in the next 5 years, and that will be our near-term focus for sure.
Okay. Now you talked about technology. Tell me about the technology, because what make Lucid unique by its technology and approach to drivability of the vehicle?
Yeah. So first thing you have to realize that all the drivetrain components, so that's the batteries, battery modules, and battery housing, all of the thermal management and software, all the technology that goes into those packs has been our core competence for over 10 years now. And that technology was also shaped by our involvement with Formula E racing. So that's the world's premier electric racing series. Lucid, or Ativa, our technology wing, does all the battery packs for every vehicle in that race series. And so we're the core supplier for that technology. That's been a wonderful opportunity for us. It's allowed us to advance our core technology, and we're bringing that tech right back into Lucid Air, and that's all developed in-house. And that's where we get a lot of our efficiencies for range, our performance. And we've also concentrated on making those components as compact as and volumetrically dense as possible. That's part of our how we're able to make the spacious layout of Lucid Air.
As I was reading through the material, something that really caught my attention, which is the cockpit or the driving, let's say the front seats for the driver and the passenger. Front passenger is in a darker colors that reflect sporty feel. However, the rear seats or the back seats in the lighter color, it's much more relaxing. I haven't heard, I've been in this business for a long, long time, my friend. I haven't heard that. Tell me what's the rationale behind the interior design that reflected that concept?
Yeah, this was one of those ideas. I mean, I'll be totally honest. I think that idea has existed in concept cars and things like that. And, and if you go all the way back to like the 30s and 40s and some of these kind of chauffeur-driven vehicles, they sometimes did that, where the driver's area up front would be more standard materials, and then the cabin in the back would have more luxurious colors and materials. So we had that early idea, and it's not just the color. We also played with the form factor and the way the lines come from the front of the car to the back of the car, and we made a conscious kind of division point halfway through the car, and really said the front of the car, the seats need to feel more sporty. You're holding onto the steering wheel. We want typically the darker materials feel more sporty, and so
are they comfortable?
Oh, of course, yes. Comfort was paramount. So we wanted a sporty aesthetic, but comfort was key. We really did a lot of benchmarking to make sure that we're achieving that. Also, we do see Lucid Air as a car you can get in and drive for 4 or 5 hours, and so we wanted comfort. And like I said, the front of the car still wanted to feel sporty, very driver oriented. And then the rear of the car is meant to be more relaxing, more of a lounge space, whether you have the standard seat, which is what we're launching with, the non-reclining seat, or later on the exec seat package, which is this reclining seat. They both needed to be very comfortable for long travel, and just so the back space is a place to just relax, maybe watch a video, do some work, video conference, so on and so forth, or put the kids back there and let them do their thing.
And also, I read that is going to be more of an experience buying the car. It is just really, it's more like a studio, more like a boutique showroom rather than really showroom. Is Lucid approach on the retailing side similar to Tesla, where they would be directly owned by you, or are you going through the U.S. automotive retailing channels?
Yeah, so we early on we had this discussion: do we franchise and just let a private dealer operate our showrooms, or do we take a more focused approach and go direct to customer? We made that decision early on, and that is a similar approach to the Tesla showrooms, in that Tesla owns all of its stores, and all the sales associates and people on staff are Lucid staff. And so I think that's really important, because I think it's important to control the process, and we call it the digital journey. The digital journey starts online through discovery, social media, whatever. Then you have our website. That experience, the online configuration, all of that is Lucid developed and then you go to the showroom, and it's a similar experience. It's seamless.
And already, have you already booked or sold cars in the States, or still you're waiting for the launch date? Are the
So
cars
we're already taking reservations. You can do
reservations? So far, you're just only taking reservations.
That's
When
right.
will you deliver the first car?
The first cars will be delivered in late March, early April.
Of 2021?
Yes.
Next year.
Yeah, about 6
Derick,
months out.
it's been really a pleasure talking to you. I want to thank you very, very much. And next time my trip to LA, I personally would like to come and visit your studio. It would be a pleasure. I really would like to go through that experience. I'm an advocate of electric vehicles, electrifications of vehicles. I think it's the future. I like what you guys have put out. I think it's a wonderful product. I want to thank you for your time and for the information that you have given me. Really, totally appreciate it.
Thanks, Bakur. I appreciate it. Great questions, by the way. I always enjoy digging a little bit deeper into the design side of things. It's
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Have a terrific day.
أرجو أن تكونوا قد استفدتم من هذا اللقاء، ولمزيد من المعلومات زوروا موقعنا saudioauto.com.sa. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.